I think we're doing this. Hi, Brigitte.
Hi,
Thanks for joining me. How you doing?
I'm good considering things going on right now.
I know, right? Where are you now? Are you in Spain?
I'm in Barcelona, yeah.
Is that where you've been for this self isolation period the whole time?
Yeah, well, actually, I live in a coast town. It's like 30 minutes away from Barcelona. It's called Sitges.
Yeah.
And I mean, I cannot complain. I live in a small flat, but with like sea views, and there's a lot of nature around. So,
That sounds lovely. Isn't it a touristic location as well? Like people
yeah,
tend to go
very
there.
much.
Yeah. I guess it's dropped dead at the moment, right? If you go into the village, there's a snowfall inside. Yeah.
Absolutely.
How is it? So your record, Disco China, really hit me. I thought it was something else really special. And if I'm not mistaken, this month it turns 1 year old, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. It was
Congratulations.
really March, yeah.
Yeah. How has it been? How has this year been for you? Looking back at the record and looking ahead as well. But have you been, happy with the reception and how it's done?
I'm pretty glad about how people kind of dealt with the fact that I'm not singing in English anymore, because that was kind of a risk, because I already had built a fandom or followers, however you want to call it, and I was pretty afraid of how people would react. And obviously, some of them are not loving it, but most of people are like, I don't know, happy about the result, and they really think it's special. I've changed a little bit the style and language. So yeah, when it comes to people's reactions, I think it's gone really well. And then on the other side, we did a little tour around
Hmm.
Spain, and that was a thing. Like, wow, how people reacted, how people knew the lyrics. That's something new for me, because in Spain the level of English is not great. So I think people did not connect so much with the songs and did not bother to learn the lyrics as much as we did in
Sure.
Discotina. So uh, yeah, that's the major difference between like the previous work with Discotina. You
Mm.
know, are engaging more with the songs, with the lyrics. They do the chorus in choir, like whenever I play live, and that was really special for me and the band. Yeah.
What drove the decision for that type of change? Because obviously, Wasted was full in English. Your first EP was fully sung in English. Yeah, what was behind that?
When I started composing, it was just me and my synths and Logic Pro. So I kind of did whatever I could with just myself. And that's what she did. So then, after I got some musicians, everything changed, because I saw that actually what I've been listening to for the last 3 or 4 years in my life is something more like the sound in like real instruments, garage sound. So I decided, why not? I mean, I listen a lot of the music I listen to is in Spanish and is like more indie
Mhm.
kind of. So that's what I did. I gave it a try.
Because I guess you've always written your own material, right? So ever since the English era to the Spanish one, and is it been easier for you? Sort of, what has changed in terms of the message you're conveying, or I guess expressing what you wanted to capture within the lyrics?
I feel a little bit more naked, because I know everyone is understanding every single word. And also, the phonetics in Spanish are much more difficult than in
Mm.
English. English is a really, I don't know, the sound of the English language is really nice, and I don't know, words really combine and rhyme really well. And in Spanish, it's not so bad. So I think I struggle with the lyrics when it comes to rhyming. and maybe opening myself up to the Spanish public, which is like my big public. So that was the hard part. But on the other side, whenever singing Spanish, I can myself.
Yeah. And what's struck me throughout your discography, and I'm guessing I'm pretty late to the party because a friend of mine put me onto you a couple of weeks ago, is that the songs at the core of these very nocturnal, dreamy, like you said, synth-driven aesthetics are just very robust and solid. I could imagine, I could picture them being, interpreted or sung with just an acoustic guitar, say, right? So it's quite unique, I find, and I listen to a lot of music in general, both for my day job and privately, and that's I think quite special about you. And when it comes to, so when did you start putting in or like bringing in some more musicians around? I guess also the writing and recording process, was it the same for Wasted as well?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I wrote the first EP, which is really electronic based, really, and it was just me with the synths and the mic. So that would be it was easy. It was like pretty amateur, amateur. And then when I started to write Wasted, I was thought there's something missing, and I asked myself, what kind of music do you listen to? Why do you listen to other songs and feel like they are completed? Why is that not happening with your music? It was really frustrating, And I thought, guitars are missing. My favorite instrument and all the music I listen to, 90% has guitars. So I hired a guitar player. He helped me out with some guitars, and then we recorded Wasted in Amsterdam in the Red Bull music studio that they have there. And when we started to prepare the tour for Wasted, I thought, okay, if there's a guitar, why isn't there a bass? Right? And I play a little bit of bass myself, so I just grabbed my bass and like jumped into the stage with it, and okay, wish for the best because I don't know what was going to happen. And I think that was the first step towards having a band, like hiring musicians and seeing the power of working with other people and the energy on stage.
Gotcha. Is this now, do you have a permanent formation, or do you have rotating musicians who help you out? Or would you say you have your own band at the moment?
I don't have my own band. That's what I would like, but it's really difficult because hired musicians, people who do not have a solid band, who like that they can live off, they have to just go around with other bands. They move from one another, and kind of hard to. Okay, guys, this is the tour day. When are you available? Okay, I can only do one. Yeah, I'll do three. So that's really, like, I would say that's the thing I struggle most whenever I have to prepare for a tour, counting with musicians. It's kind of difficult.
And speaking of tours, and I guess, performing and the live scene in general, how has this lockdown and this, I guess, self-isolation period, has it affected any plans that you had already, or sort of how are you coping with it for existing and future plans of going back on stage?
It has affected. Just like 1 week ago, I will be playing at we have these great parties called Festa Major, which are specific for each town, and there's always a lot of music involved, and that's the thing I've missed. But I mean, I don't want to be negative or anything. I would love to be optimistic, but it looks like we're not going to be playing any festival this summer either. Unfortunately, we wanted to do. I always do this with my albums. I release the album itself. I do half of the tour. Then I spend some months doing nothing, and then I go back and do a second part of the tour. That's how I like it, because then people have enough time to get to know the album, and people who did not know your work can kind of jump in. And so I could do the first part of the Discotina tour, but now I was supposed to start the second part of the tour. It has definitely.
Have you been able to come up with alternatives? What we're doing now, sort of anything that's live streamed or video based, like many of our peers and fellow musicians are doing, or is this something you have in the books as well?
The first week I was really frustrated. I did not accept that everything was going on. The situation was like really hard for me to kind of cope with. So I was really shut down. I didn't even want to check Instagram or anything. But then all of a sudden, I started to get inspired by all of these people who are doing lives, and that you see that they are making the most of this situation. And I thought, why shouldn't I do the same? So I've started to compose the new album.
Wow. Okay. How about that? Um, is it because I read something interesting the other day from an industry person. They were saying, oh, this could be sort of the live music industry's Napster moment. When they realize, okay, this is not only imposed by these circumstances, this obviously very somber predicament, but it could be something that could be built on for the future, right? Finding these alternative revenue streams, and just because also technology allows for it. I don't know what your view is on this. Do you think this is just a flash in a pan just to cope, get us through the hard months, or do you think we can actually have something that blossoms out of this that is sustainable for the future?
Well, I think it will certainly blossom into something else, but to a certain extent, if you know what I mean. It will. It has inspired a lot of us to do different things and things in a different way. I myself won't stick to kind of amount of hours I'm on Instagram and answering DMs and everything. But I think it's interesting to know that you can actually do a lot of from home. You can be inspired by being alone too, which is something I hadn't even thought about it. You don't live experiences. There's nothing you can write, and that's not true because you can just go back to other things you've lived and have a conversation with someone. You can watch a movie. A lot of things inspire us. So that's what I have learned specifically. And other people, other musicians, maybe they will do more lives. Probably. There's a lot of platforms like both, even festivals from home. I think that should stick around for a bit, and then just keep it to some extent. Yeah.
When just going back to your point about you writing again in this mode and isolation, I guess, context, how does it work for you? Is it like, do you sit down at a keyboard or synth and does it start from there? Does it start from the lyrics? Do you pick up a guitar? Run us through your, if you have one, a sort of a typical method for you to come up with your songs.
Yeah, I think all musicians have their own method. Otherwise, I think there's some fear of not knowing what's going to happen. So at least for me, it's like you start in a comfort zone, and then I try to get out of that comfort zone from time to time. Instead of with the synths, which is what I do, I always start with the bass synths. Then I do the melody. Then there's usually the guitar. I'm not a guitar player, but I kind of know to play some chords. So that would be the third step. And then the drums. And last but not least, lyrics, which is the most difficult part for me. So these days, I had a lot of time. I've tried to start composing the other way around. So I have like here in my desk, I have like a lot of papers with different lyrics in Spanish, and it's been curious because I had the feeling that it wasn't myself who was composing the song. You kind of see it from another point of view. Very interesting. I think all musicians should try it. Give it a try. Yeah.
That's fascinating. And do you go into, let's take this round here of writing and session, do you go into it knowing that you're chasing an album, an LP, say, or do you just go with the flow and say, see where the first songs take you, and just, or do you know this will become some sort of longer, body of work already?
I like to think that I'm working in an album because I don't want to spend too much time on every song. Because there's a thing, you never know when a song is finished. Mm-hmm. For me, it works really well if I know that I have, for example, 10 months or 1 year to come up with an album. So 10 more than 2 months with a song, something's going to end up badly. But then on the other hand, I know how music industry change constantly. And nowadays, the formula is releasing singles with video. It works the best. So I kind of combine thinking of the pieces as an album, but I'm not close to the idea of releasing them separately. I think it would be smart enough.
Right, and is this also what I guess informed? Because you put out Disco China, obviously, and I believe was it Culpable y Feliz, just the teaser single, and then the record drop, and then you released Te Crees Muy Eterno. Was that sort of the timeline? Is that also what informed, because I know you also shot official music videos for the former, so is that, do you like to plan it strategically that way and sort of resonating with the industry and looking what's...
Well, I'm not the one who's like up with the strategy at all, because I really don't know marketing stuff. That's why I have my agency, We Go, and they work and they build around what's kind of the hype of that. So 1 year ago, it was kind of similar to now. It was single with a video, maybe a second single with a video, and then we did 3 singles. We did Culpable y Feliz with the video, then we released Que Crees Muy Eterno, and then Disco, and then the album.
Got it.
I think it would have been more intelligent just to release 2 singles, one with the video and the other one without it, and then just the album. I think they wanted to make the hype last. I don't know, maybe it's just me being impatient.
Well, I guess you can always look back, and learn from that cycle and take, those teachings into account for the next one. I am personally unashamedly in love with the Crees Muy Eterno. I think it's so powerful, and it's got whatever you were looking for in that song. I completely get it, and it's really, really profound, I find. What would you say out of the 7, 8 songs? Because it's a very snappy album. What I like about it is it's such a sort of, punchy listen, because everything's so catchy and grabs your attention. Like I said, they're just great songs at the core of it. One year fast forward into the future, what would you say are the songs for you out of that LP specifically? Which ones you're more attached to?
I would definitely go for Culpable y Feliz. I think that's probably the best song I've written so far. Then there's something curious about Déjame en paz, because it's a kind of the most difficult song to listen to, because it's slow and it's long, and then the starts really forward in the song. And I think most of people don't have patience to kind of mm, get there, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's probably the most underrated song. And for me, it's the most complex one. So that's what I always tell people. Try and because people usually say that their favorite ones are Culpable y Feliz and Discochino. Those are the two favorite ones. I play live. That like whenever the teams start playing, I get an immediate reaction. So, and then when Déjame en Paz, people don't talk about it. It's like, but come on, have you even listened to that one? It's really great. So I would definitely say those two.
It's interesting because I do believe that you have a knack at just teasing people and almost like outdoing yourself with every new section. If you take Culpable y Feliz, I guess you would call it the post chorus, that very catchy synth line, and it's just this incendiary rhythm. It's so cool because it's sort of like you don't waste it, and you sort of you lock it in, you puzzle piece it in a way that at least that's my impression, and I found that in different songs with you, and it seems like you're aware of it, which is really rad. Um, I also thought because the Instagram challenge or ask that you put out the other week about Culpable y Feliz, about I'm guilty but I don't care, I'm still happy. Was that something that you came up with yourself, or is you've got your people behind it who help you? Because it seemed so genuine.
The lyrics, you mean?
No, the whole Instagram hashtag. Oh, share with me what sort of your
Oh
guilty.
no, yeah, that actually came up having dinner with my mom the other night.
That's hilarious.
Overnight, actually, and because she prepared this cake, and I was like, Mom, I'm eating so much these days, but I'm so happy about it. Like, I don't even feel guilt at all. And she's like, culpable y feliz. Yeah, and I said, yeah, culpable y feliz, but happy about it. And I was like, I should just create that hashtag. So I got a lot of responses. I think it's probably the time I've gotten more responses and feedback from the followers.
How do you view social, and I guess the whole social media shebang? Being did you put out this China by yourself, or sort of are you signed by anybody?
No, I put it up for myself with.
So how do you, being a DIY or self-released, I guess independent artist, how do you view social media? So is it something that is it an afterthought for you? Is it something that's almost like a duty, a task, or are you sort of experiencing in a way that's natural and you can weave that into your everyday life seamlessly?
For me, it's really natural because I post whatever I feel like. I have no one in like behind me telling me, "Don't put this. This is too personal." Or focus, just like upload music, kind of oriented stuff. Some people has criticized for that. Like, why do you upload so many stories with your friends and with your day-to-day life? People want to see like other kind of stuff, like music based. And I thought, I don't think that's true. There's people who will also enjoy seeing who Brigitte Laverne is. I upload all kind of stuff, from partying with my friends to just showing my live set to rehearsing. But then I also prank on my friends, and I also record it, and then they start following my friends, and they get to know my environment. They get to know my taste in music, in cinema, in everything, food. I don't know. I think it's kind of a pack, package who I am.
I speak to many artists, and trust me when I say that you should consider yourself lucky. Not everybody sees it that way, and most of them, for them, it's just a chore. But I guess it comes down to like you said, how organically and how holistically you're able to weave that in. So that's cool to hear. Um, I wanted to chat about Elite, the show, the Netflix show, and your songs being synced on there. How was it? Sort of how, and maybe let's just take a step back. How do you view sync in general, synchronization, and placements like that being a viable, both promotional but also revenue source for musicians like yourself nowadays?
Can you? Sorry, because it was
Yeah,
there
of
was
course.
some sort of.
Of course. So just I was just wondering. So how do you view synchronization? Music to movies, shows, and ads as a promotional vehicle and a revenue stream for artists like yourselves nowadays. Is this something that you're betting big on?
I started to work with Netflix 3 years ago with this series about Luis Miguel's life, a Mexican singer, and that was like really on a little scale compared to what has happened now. But I could see how important it is to have this kind of platform so that people can get to your music. And I started to think I would actually love to compose music for specific advertisement, and nothing happened for 2 years. But then they also like picked a song for another movie, and then came Elite, which was awesome because I already watched that series before.
You were a
And
fan.
Yeah, I was. And
Me too, by the way.
it's
Such a
really
great show.
great.
Such a great show.
Really, really great. So actually, I remember watching the second series, and there's this song by Oblique, which are colleagues. I thought, oh my God, they are so lucky. Like, how many people will now go and Shazam that song, look for the soundtrack on Spotify, on YouTube, look for your Instagram account, everything. That's such a, kind of, call it a lupa, like whenever you look for
Yeah.
a spotlight. And I was really jealous in a good way, but I thought, oh my God, my music would fit so well here. Because the second season is already synth pops. And then all of a sudden, they like a sync agents called me, which is Melody Sync. And they were like, there's a series called Elite in Netflix. I don't know if you've heard about it, but they want to feed 4 of your. I was like, are you kidding me? Like I've literally dreamt of this a couple of times, and I was so happy. Not only because it allows you to get in people's life and in the people's heads, but also because somehow you feel that your music is worth it. It really feels special.
How so the songs were then synced to is it the third season only, or did it start with the second one?
No, it was the third one only. Yeah.
And what a great company, by the way. The whole score is just unbelievable. It keeps getting, more monumental with every episode.
Yeah.
Because I think, especially in times where such a huge revenue stream like performing live is completely being halted because of, these measures. It's not the first time that I hear that, sync and any type of placement or even just, writing to a specific audiovisual, like you said, is definitely becoming more and more interesting. How would you, and now we've chatted for a bit, but how would you describe, you mentioned a few keywords, like synth pop, obviously, you're a bass player, synth player, I imagine, but how would you describe your sound to those who don't know you? So would you like doing that anyway at all, or how would you do that?
I would say that my music is definitely nostalgic, and I've tried to kind of make that impression by using melodies in my synth and my kind of the Cure 80s guitar. It has to be like, I would definitely that the first synth pop, and I would say that this or a Spanish indie sound. And if there's by or maybe a couple of them, I would say nostalgic and powerful. It makes you, I think it makes you wanna, make you wanna think, which is what I do whenever I listen.
Wonderful. You broke up just a little bit, but I think we got the most of the gist there. Can you still hear me all right? Your end?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. And what are you listening to now? So what inspires you when you're writing now in your Sitges house? What inspires you, if it's music at all or anything? You know, popular culture, movies, books. What is driving Brigitte at the moment?
Yeah, I'm getting like inspiration from these poetry books from Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
He's from the UK, and I just love how he combines words. It's just amazing. So I'm using this book to kind of get rid of that struggling with rhymes because it's translated in Spanish. So the translator has done a really great job. Really, I don't think it's easy at all to translate poetry, especially if it rhymes. I mean, how can you even do that? So I'm getting a lot of inspiration from. Also, I'm watching some movies, like movies. I don't know why they give me this kind of nostalgic vibes, like Sorrentino movies. To my mom, that conversation itself just inspired me so much. Because moms will always be moms. It's like you've done so great so far. You're so grateful and proud of yourself. Because musicians, I think everyone in life with whatever career they have, they always want more. And I know I want to get for, but I also think it's important to take a moment to realize how far you've come and to be grateful for that. Because actually, it's an exercise that's helped me a lot to kind of lay back and enjoy whatever I've achieved. And that gives you also the strength to want to, get a little bit more. So I would say that. Yeah, and also music. But music is always the direct via.
The unfiltered gates. So what records now? Sort of who excites you? What musicians are up on your radar at the moment?
Let me check Spotify. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't see your Spotify though, unfortunately. I'd be super curious though.
Oh. I'm listening to the new Dune album.
Sorry, didn't catch that. What was it?
I'm listening to the new Dune Rat. The album is called Hurry Up and Wait.
Mm-hmm.
I really like them. Then I'm listening to a lot of Spanish music, bands from here such as Medalla. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I've also been listening to a lot of Mexican indie bands such as Little Jesus,
mm-hmm.
Lado Negro.
Have you ever played live in Mexico? Because I saw that, if I'm not mistaken, it's kind of Mexico City is your number one, audience city on Spotify. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know if you caught that.
No, I've never played in America. Not even like which is where I think my music would work really well. But it's very difficult to we call it to cross the, when it rains and there's this little,
The pond?
yeah. So in Spanish we call it to cross the pond. El Chaco is very difficult because there's a lot of money involved.
Sure, and then you probably want to make it worth a whole tour, not just a one-off, date. So
exactly, you need to have contacts, and you have, I don't know, I'll do it someday, but obviously not now. Something I would really like to, because I have a lot of fandom base there. Oh, since it's been difficult times, I've been listening to a lot of Latino music.
Yeah.
Like cumbia, psychedelic, cumbia too, salsa, bolero. They really cheer me up.
Yeah, it's something we all need at the moment, right? So everybody's got their own coping mechanisms. One thing I personally genuinely miss a lot is just the live scene and just going to shows and catching discovery. Because it was, I don't know about you, you obviously on stage, but I would imagine you also go to, and being from Barcelona and having such a ripe and fantastic live music culture there, from everything from Primavera Sound to Sonar and all the beautiful venues that you have. Music discovery is so often funneled by live shows. At least for me, that is I don't know. Do you trust algorithms? Do you trust Spotify's algorithm? Sometimes it's just a little short-sighted for me. So I think that's a huge. I don't know what your view is on this one, and maybe we can expand it to the whole Barcelona music scene and how you view that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's always the same bands. They recommend you. Like, okay, let's squeeze it a little bit more. I know there's more to it.
Right.
When it comes to the kind of music I listen in my daily basis, rock, punk, indie, maybe a little bit. There's not a lot of Spanish indie bands. You know what I mean? Of course, there's, but the known ones are always the same ones. So, in this kind of run, algorithms do not well. But when it comes to unknown music, such as Latino, psychedelic, music from the world, like folkloric music, African, Brazilian, like this kind of vibe that I need these days to just dance to it. Obviously, everything's new, so I've been spending so many hours just, okay, next one. Oh, I like this one too, and just dragging it into my playlist, and it's been so thank you, Spotify, for that. But you need to work on the indie Spanish sector.
There you go. So when do you think, what do you miss most about the Barcelona and I guess whole Spanish music scene? Was there, I guess all the festival season must be heartbreaking, to just having to skip that one. But would you agree that the Barcelona had or has still an excellent live music scene, or would you say that it has?
Yeah, definitely. What I have to say something though. I mean, I also live in Madrid, and I play there very often. Actually, I play in Madrid much more than in Barcelona.
I see.
And the crowd, I mean, just spectacular. People are so engaged, so like whatever you sing, they will just try and like it, and you can see that they want to give you the feedback, and then when you finish the show, they want to buy merch and just take it with you. That's in Madrid, but then in Barcelona, I think I'm Catalan too, and I'm aware that we are a little bit more colder than. I'm just generalizing, but that's the thing, and everyone knows it. So that's also applicable to live music, because people do not cheer you up so much. They don't applaud so much. So I like it. I love the Barcelona scene because I am the one who is going to concerts. But if I have to perform in Catalonia, I find it's the toughest audience in Spain. Maybe because there's a very good level and people are up to that expectations.
I don't know if you follow football, but it's probably like the Bernabeu, where they hardly ever applaud just because their expectation level is just the equivalent for music. Yeah, that's interesting. Have you lived in Madrid as well, or so have
Yeah.
you camped there?
Yes, I lived there
Yeah.
many years ago, but I always, since I have memory of it, like I recall from being 14 or 15, I've always so much. It's everything I do. I mean, that's it for me. Music, all kind of genres, and maybe going to a bar, well, a pub, and drink some beer. But aside from that, I don't have any other hobbies.
Mm.
So going back to what I was saying, which was I don't remember. I talk too much.
Was it tied to Madrid and something about it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was really young when I lived there,
Yeah.
but I already went to gig, and the first thought I had was, "Wow, they really live it. They really enjoy it."
Cool. Thanks so much, Brigitte, for jumping on this one with me. What's the best? I saw you. I call you on Bandcamp, obviously all the major streaming services. If are you also selling physical products, right? CDs, or I caught some CDs.
Yeah, I got some CDs left from Discochina, and then I'm on YouTube and Apple Music.
And what's the best? Would you say the best platform to reach you? Any of the above, or do you have a preference?
No, any of the above will do.
All right, amazing. Thank you so much. I will